All right. It is another session of No Man's Sky, and let's see what sort of mischief we can get into today. As usual, I have no specific plans, other than that I have no specific plans. So given that, we're just going to see what we have on the plate, and go from there. All right. Let's see. So, fair warning, I had learned just recently that you can strip the rubber off of a charging cord using a vacuum cleaner. And because of that, I am not sure if my wireless headset is actually charging. So if it goes out, well, I do have a replacement. Um, in any case, once this loads up, we'll see where we are at. All right, you're here, and this is where we are. I do apologize if my turning is a bit, um, how would you say, quick. Um, I've never been able to fully adjust the sensitivity properly. Um, so for those who get motion sick watching me play, I do apologize. And I've got a friend who decided to start chatting with me via text through Steam while I am streaming. Not that I'm complaining. Alright, let's see what we got here. Anything we want to hook up. I think everything is currently set up. Alright, let's check our missions. Alright, we're supposed to be calibrating our translator. Let's see, anyone up here we want to speak with? And again, you speak to someone and like one of these general NPCs, you don't get that back. Your first impression is your only impression. What do we got in our inventory right now? We got ammo. So, yeah, I'm not too sure if I want to communicate with any of these people. Alright. Let's see what this icon-esque icon is about. There you go. Let's take a wing out by slamming it into an antenna. Ah, ancient ruins. Okay. I guess I'm too close to ships. Okay. There we go. One of the few things I don't like about this game is this sense of FOMO, fear of missing out. I don't know. There's enough planets to discover that um, it's impossible for the entire population of the planet to play this game and find everything at one time. But still, in all, it's this sense of like I find a system and oh look, it's already discovered. So I miss out on any sort of reward. Um, so I go to another system and oh look, it's also been discovered. Well, can't do that. I've kind of encountered that. I found a like my other game. I started off in a planet that was already discovered, and then the fact that like you discover a planet, you can name it anything you want. Well, um, Bodie McBoatface, you know, um, we as a species are not exactly known to take communal content seriously. And this isn't true with everyone. I mean, like, I myself try to play things in the spirit of what it was intended. But again, Bodie McBoatface. And that's a very mild example of how we can um, take something and remove the reverence of it. Um, you could say we don't take the seriousness of what we are interacting with. You know, one of the first general use AI, and I don't exactly remember what it was called, but what I remember is that before it really had a chance to gel and just kind of show what it was capable of doing, it had to be removed because people were they literally turned it into um, like a like every phobe you can have a misogynistic it just it was just I don't know if you would consider it a failure or a success, but it was definitely something. They took it down within I think it was like under 30 minutes, if I remember correctly. It was like a very short time frame. Um, but excuse me a sec. But yeah, it was like we don't humans don't take things necessarily seriously when they should. And then we handle things in reverse. Things that we should just go, oh, pff, well, that's retarded. That's stupid. And I don't mean retarded as in, you know, mentally, I mean just stupid. Just the ridiculous side of things. Um, we take things too seriously that we should just be laughing off. Um, so it's just I don't know. So here we are. We have this game here, and and true in fashion. You know, I kind of take this sense of FOMO very seriously when um, it really shouldn't mean anything, in all honesty. I mean, it's a game. Oops. Well, whatever that rock was, it isn't now. And I mean, this rings true with everything. I mean, you look at all of the nonsense that happened with, let's say, great. I'm getting my butt kicked by a cloud. Um, you know, like all the nonsense with like Star Wars, and Marvel Comics and Disney and Hollywood and we we take all that to heart. We take it seriously. We take it personally, and it's entertainment. It's something that is collectively enjoyed, but at the end of the day, it's just entertainment. And instead of taking it as such, we're like, well, how dare you not like what I like? Anyway, sorry I'm rambling on. It's not something I intend to do. Alright. We're still not done with this location. Alright. And now Right. Alright, let's see what this has to say. Hmm. Alright, we've got our next destination. Hooray! I gotta figure out where my ship is. Oh, there it is. I have that problem in real life. I always forget where I parked. Even if the car is right in front of me. But then again, I've also once locked myself out of my own car while trying to pop the hood. Um, yeah, that was fun. Oh, it's the popo. This is why when you're playing this game, if you have any contraband and you've got a Corvette, install a storage bin and put all of your contraband in the storage bins. Because when they scan your ship, they don't scan those. Alright, let's see. Anything in here I wanna... Nope. Alright. Pick up a few extra minerals. So I've been playing Raft with my roommate of late. I know that's a, you know, old school game, what some may consider, but it's not bad. Oop. I think the story's a little bit, I don't know, heavy-handed, but at the same time, it's you know it's pretty decent. The mechanics of it are pretty neat. I love the fact that you have to find um, you have to find a location to progress I know that sounds kind of like, well, duh. But what it is for those who are not familiar, early in the game you get basically it's a radar. You have to put out three antennas and your radar display. And I think this planet hates me. And you learn how to craft a battery so you can power the actual display. And you're given a location, and you plug that into your monitor, and you have to steer the ship, through waters to that new location. You learn your next coordinate. It's a very simple but very elegant way of progressing the story, I thought, because it really does kind of force you to explore, because you have to find the materials to build your equipment. Not to mention the fact that you have this shark that keeps like devouring your boat. So you have to stop by any number of islands to gather more resources, such as um, like copper and iron ingots that you can only get under the water, and smelt those into well, not ingots, ore, sorry, and you smelt those into the ingots, and use those ingots to craft um, all of your electronics. And of course, as the game progresses, the technology increases, and but you're still relying upon this radar system to figure out where your next location is. And it's such a, I don't know how they implemented it. I guess is pretty neat, because it doesn't feel um, forced, really. It feels very organic in how it's handled. Now the story is kind of like, I don't know, certain aspects of it I'm kind of scratching my head over. One of the locations you encounter is this domed city. It's where all of the elite ended up evacuating to when when the world ended up being submerged. And that's the main story, is that the world ended up getting flooded. So one of the things you find on this city are these butler bots. Okay, and every one of them has a taser strapped to them. And instead of, like, say, knocking these things out, which, I mean, I'm surprised that the inhabitants of the city didn't do, but you yourself, you're capable of knocking these things out, and you don't try to remove the the duct tape holding these tasers in place. You don't try to disarm these things when they're not doing anything. and then you have, and I understand it's game mechanics, but I mean you have this shark that's like devouring your ship, your boat, one plank or one block at a time, and you can beat it off and then repair the damage. But the point is that you have a vast ocean filled with fish. I mean that's all the world is now is just this ocean. And the shark, one at a time, they come after you. You kill the shark, you harvest it for meat and the shark head, and then you have another shark appear. And I know it's a game mechanic, um, designed, so that you always have some type of minor antagonist coming after you. But it would have been neat if, like, say, you had a variety of, different antagonists, um, that are coming after you, or have like the shark around other fish, you know, to make it seem like the shark is like, oh well, here it is. We've got an easier target. But instead, um, yeah, it's a bizarre mechanic that they never explain away. There are some interesting locations in Raft. You find a national park that's inhabited by bears. And another thing I'm scratching my head over is one of you have to turn these relay stations on. Like you have to turn these three relay stations on, and one of the relay stations you have to parkour across an acid pit. So let me get this straight. Instead of setting up some type of bridge like they do in one of the relay station locations, where they can raise the bridge to prevent the bear from coming across, they spread acid. So effectively, what is protecting them will also hurt them. Okay. Um, and yeah, it's just bizarre. But the game is fun. I mean, in terms of game mechanics and um, how they handle things. The islands you come across, not the plot, the story-based islands and locations, but just the general random islands you encounter. Those are spawned in around you as you encounter them, and when you leave um, that location, if you float far enough away, they despawn, never to be seen again. Same with the garbage. It's all spawned around your ship. So, and I learned that if you sail against the wind, you're not going to find any garbage. It only spawns if you're sailing with the wind. Not a lot of neat little tidbits there. Um, okay, so I have to learn. But it's not giving me any sort of possible location I need to go to. Like I said in a prior, ooh, big worm, um, prior session here, What is neat about this game is that it doesn't force you to play through the plot line. It's solely exploration, and I love that about this game. I think it probably could have had like a denser um, range of locations and variety of like terrain and flora and fauna and just the alien species you can encounter. But on the whole, it's a neat game where exploration is concerned. Um, as I've said this before, I've found myself just encountering a planet that just blew my mind. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm going, what am I looking at? I in a later playthrough, I might just load up my other game and show. Alright. Let me see, what system is predominantly in this? Let's see. Okay, we're in the Corvette system. Hmm. Okay, I can't do a current mission just yet. No, yeah, this is what I want to do. Okay. Got 3 other planets I can explore. The music's real nice. I'm always a big fan about music, game music, right? Um, and as strange as it may sound, Star Wars uh, opened my eyes to the importance of a good soundtrack with anything you watch or you play, and if done right, to what you read. The soundtrack, the music track, becomes as much a character in the story as any of the characters themselves. Uh, I mean, because you you don't really know who Darth Vader is until he comes on screen, and the soundtrack kicks in, the music track. Okay, so you know this guy is like a pretty bad dude. You oh God, this thing. Oh, okay, good. Ow. So what? Sorry, I got distracted when my character decided to drop off the planet. So when when I'm playing this game, or any game, I try to listen to whether or not the soundtrack, the music track, uh, lines up with the game itself. If it lends to the feel of the game or not. Um, you know, like uh, what's the game? Okay. Surviving Mars has some neat tracks to it. Some pretty pretty well, some pretty music. Um, you know, a lot of nice piano pieces. Um, which really lends to the game. And you, oh, dude, when you get into certain situations, you know, like there's a, oh God, uh, I'm distracted with my own voice. Um, like you encounter a an asteroid storm, a meteor storm. Okay, a certain high intensity song, same style as all the others, plays. And then you have games where the music, I mean, it fits the general feel of the game, but at the same time, it's not. Oh, no wonder. Um, it's not. I guess it's not situation specific. Um, like this game, the music is not like okay, you're in the middle of a battle, and the music will change. Well, I mean, it does kind of change. The mood kind of changes, but it's the same song. You would still hear this if I get into a firefight. This song will play, but it will be basically the same song, just with a more intense flair to it. Whereas, you know, like, oh, I guess, yeah, I don't know. Um, it's just I guess in my own rambly little way, I'm saying, you know, the music should fit the mood of the game. It should lend to it. Um, the music's real nice, but sometimes it just kind of feels different. It's like the music is pulled from a different game than, um, you know, than well this. I think it's partly because the music, just the various tracks sound like they come from different people. I don't know if that's true or not, but uh, music's still good though. It's still good exploration music. All right, here we go, and oh wow, wasn't expecting that. I do like the fact in this game that each race kind of exhibits a certain uh, personality. Um, this species, like this guy right here, they are the researchers. They are the scientists. Um, the Viking, as their name kind of lends to, they are the warriors. And then the Gek are the merchants. It doesn't really affect anything in the long run, other than the lore. But it's kind of a neat little um, piece of information. Okay. There was something I was going to build, and I completely forgot what I was going to build. I hate it when I do that. I can get navigation data. But do I have the money? Yeah, I have the money. Show me the money. Alright, let's see what this guy sells. Um, hmm. I can purchase blueprints. What can I purchase? Nothing! Uh, Reform recycler? Uh, hmm. I'm not seeing anything that... Bolt caster. Let's see, what do I have here? Nice. Okay. Hmm. Oh, that's right. Looking for. What is it? Oh, okay. I already have a bolt caster. Uh. And what does this guy have again? Okay. Bolt caster upgrade. Hmm. All right. Alright, so we got that going on, and now let's see if we can find. Okay. You can't make the wireling loom. You have to purchase it. This is buried information. Da, 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 da. I am looking. What is this? It's Parfinium. Alright, let's see. I don't have that just yet. Hooray! Okay. Locations. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm still on this planet. Okay, and oop. There's usually standing right there. Okay, this is called got to a post. This is a minor settlement. No, you can't get more minor than 2 people. Okay, what would it require for me to make a microprocessor? Can I make a microprocessor? Do I know how to make a... Oh wait, he sells a microprocessor. But do I already have that? That's a door. Okay.
Charging battery.
Okay. Oh wait, did he have a... Does he have a loom? Yes, he did. And I don't have the money. No. Alright. Oh look, I can make these now. Or open them. Hooray! Okay, and there's... And ship. I love how it put my teleportation pad into the ground. Alright. Now let's go ahead and start processing those. My other playthrough, I don't have 2 refiners. I didn't. Not until I started playing this. And... Alright. I decided to add another one in my other playthrough. Because it's the rock source. Let's go on an adventure. What is this called? What? Oh, armored clamp. Okay, ancient plaque. Sounds like someone used to see a dentist. Alright. Oh wow, that's what I saw. See if there's any others. Oh, is it that guy next? Recently I discovered there's like probably a good, I want to say, I'm being generous here, a good 50 versions of the song Popcorn, which absolutely blew my mind. I mean, you have to consider this one guy created a song that is now, I want to say, is one of the most covered songs on the internet. I mean, even before the internet was really a thing. And it's a very simple song, but I don't know, just something about it just gives it a lasting and like appeal. I want to say. All right, I want to sell anything. Yeah, is that enough for me to get the loom? Well, they don't have the loom, so it's kind of a moot point. Any containers up here? Nope. All right. Ow. Okay, and we were gonna go up here. Okay, now I want to get back home. There it is. I remember the first time I played this game, there really wasn't a lot going on. Not lore,
Charging battery.
not lore-wise. I am going to
Charge
disconnect that.
complete.
Um, there wasn't a lot like lore-wise going on. Or, things to do, or and the game mechanics was not exactly explained. I mean, there really was kind of this sense of it being in its infancy. So I'm glad that they've continued to develop it, and um, they actually listen to the player base when they're adding content. Not a lot of game studios do that. They have this kind of I know what you want more than you do kind of a mentality. Or this idea that, well, it's my game, I can do what I want as I wish. And then they wonder why their game doesn't sell, or doesn't sell as well as they would like, or so forth and so on. Uh, let's see. I still have that going on. Okay. I try to avoid speaking with NPCs until I know enough of their language to understand what they are wanting. Okay. Because some of these NPCs will ask you to give them something, and you don't know what it is they're asking for. Unless you know enough of the language. Okay. Uh, insufficient fuel. There we go. And I do apologize for not being on last Sunday. I'm kind of pulling back a little bit. Just I don't want to suffer burnout from the game because it's a game really worth kind of sitting down and exploring. But my play style really is more of a collaborative, um, a co-op in the truest sense of the word. Even like right now, I'm designing a couple of card games, and I because I don't have anyone who's like serious about like helping me design this thing. I I ended up using Chat GPT. Now that is a conversation. Uh, when I communicate with chat, I don't treat it like a tool. I communicate with it as if I was talking to someone. And it responds in like manner. So there is a sense of me actually communicating with someone. And it's a very interesting experience. So I've always had this kind of an issue with these card games because like I said, I'm not I don't work well whenever I'm working by myself. Oh, I forgot to mark that. Oh well. And with chat, I actually have that kind of sensation that I'm actually working with someone, and it's pretty neat. It's a sentient plant. Ooh. Well, I think we're on another planet. If I didn't know better. So, oh wait, no, we are already on this. Okay. But we did learn about a new species. Insert evil laugh here. Um, this is a ruin. And trying to get an idea if there's a name to this location. That's a new icon. Interesting. Okay. I want to play this legitimate, but I'm half tempted to set some of the settings so that I don't have to deal with all the headache of having to constantly recharge uh, my terrain tools and so forth. Alright. There's a lot of neat little stuff around here. Alright. Let's get to excavating. I find AI um, pretty neat, honestly. I'm of the school that it's it's a tool definitely worth looking into um, in terms of what it can do and developing it. Um, I don't think we'll ever reach this point myself due to various reasons. But if I felt we had enough time to, I could see AI becoming a sort of what I term as an emergent. Basically, Al, what that means is, and I was telling my older brother this, if you look at, say, Star Wars, okay? The droids in that would be considered emergents, meaning that they're becoming sentient, if not already. Um, self-willed. I mean, you look at how R2D2 is, and yeah, I know, even in the sense of the lore of the movies, they're AI, they're programs, and but they, sentience self-awareness has to start somewhere. And if you're one to believe in, like, say, evolution, then you have to start back to, you know, we start off as single-celled organisms. And I kind of swing both ways. I mean, I don't exactly know where I stand in terms of humanity being evolved. I do know that the Bible does say that we were formed from the clay of the earth. You know, we were formed from minerals, and you look at what they are discovering. I remember there was a wall. I don't remember where. There was a wall I read one time in Scotland where for like centuries travelers would stop by and relieve themselves. And I mean, if human, um, when we pee, part of that is not to sound gross, but part of that is ammonia. Okay. Um, Over all these years and centuries and so forth of travelers relieving themselves against this wall, scientists have had discovered that the mineral content uh, uh, at this wall was a very close approximation, and I don't remember how close of it was, but it was a very close approximation to the chemistry on primordial Earth. The chemistry that eventually, they say spawned life. And you have other things going on. You have single-celled life. That they exist. There's like no brain, no nervous system. They're basically just proteins and genetic code in a shell made of protein. Okay, single-celled life, and yet they're capable of reacting to their environment. Amoebas um, actively hunting for nourishment. You know, Bacteria that will hunt and flee, and it's and these things, and they self-replicate. You know, um, and it's just there's no question they are alive. They take in nourishment. They produce waste. Um, they reproduce, and when we're talking about AI, I mean, certain definitions will have to be, kind of scrutinized. What is the definition of life? With AI, well, okay, let's take a look at, okay, forget about the fact that they're not organic, right? Okay, that's a given. They're not organic. But taking in nourishment, okay, they take in electricity. They metabolize electricity. Um, Producing waste, well, they produce heat as a form of waste. Um, you know, the electricity going through their bodies. There's uh, what is it? Electrical. I want to say electrical friction. Okay, so and that produces waste heat. Okay, there you go. They take in nourishment and they produce uh, waste. Reproduction. Well, we haven't exactly given them that capability just yet, but um, we could very well give them that capability. You know, if we have if we have two artificial intelligences, um, they could effectively take their experience, their memories, and what they've developed as a personality, come to some sort of agreement. Say, okay, I'm going to share the variables here, and I'll have you share the variables there, and decide on what variables to share with each other, and then produce an outcome. So, in a new, say, computer or shell or whatever you want to call it. So, there you go. They're able to replicate. Already, there's the question of, um, are does an entity have to be organic to be considered alive? I mean, there's the idea that silicon is so close to hang on, I'm going to look this up because I don't want to sound like I'm just throwing facts out of thin air. Um, um, is silicon to carbon. So, from what I understand, okay, so they're in the same group on the periodic table. Um, but there's that whole question of the validity of, say, silicon-based life forms. Okay, so that right there would change what it means to, you know, be considered alive, I guess. I mean, already you have animals that, or you have life forms that subsist on nourishment that we never thought would be possible. Thermal, chemical. There is a fungus they found, if I remember correctly, in the Chernobyl reactor that is feeding off of the radiation inside of the reactor. There is a bacteria. There was a mine, I remember, in the United States that the the waste from that mine, it was a copper mine. It turned, um, I guess, like a local water source into battery acid, and they thought that that was like a kind of a permanent problem. And what they discovered was that, and with rainfall and runoff into this water source, they were afraid that the water would spill out and cause further um, environmental damage. And what they discovered, if I remember correctly, was there was a bacteria that was feeding off of the chemicals within this water supply. Nature was basically cleaning up the mess we have made. Okay, I have got to get to Ow. Alright. Well, I'm trying to hide, but it is after me. Okay, we got 2 of those. Alright. I don't like these ladders. Okay, let's put that up. And ooh, a geode. I didn't realize I had those. Let's see what's in them. Ferrite dust. I'll take it. Dude, they must really hate me. Okay, let's see here. I put it off somewhere. Golden nugget. Okay, we're gonna wanna crack those open. Ah, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, that is cooking, and we're gonna go over here. So usually what happens is, after so long, they will actually vanish. And they're not disappearing. Nope. Alright. They don't like me. Okay. Oof. Okay. And the moral of the story is, do not take gravitic balls. There's, I was heading to somewhere. Oh, I hate it when I get like this. Okay. There we go. Ah, that's what I'm looking for. I can just hear him now. Which way did he go? Which way did he go? Okay. Alright. Anything here? Ooh. I am looking for that. Did they find me? Yeah, they found me. I don't have my gun just yet. much did I get out of that? 10. Not bad. Okay. Let's see. Do I have any copper? I thought it was still copper. Sodium. Yes, okay. And for the bolt caster, what do I need? 100. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Okay, bolt caster. Oh, that's right, I don't have enough room. Okay, I'm getting injured. Here's another one somewhere. There it is. Well, I guess that idiot is stuck in there. Okay, that one is already been dealt with. Okay. Okay, ship. Ah. Okay, and I forgot where we parked. There we are. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, and I'm not even on the same planet now, and they're still looking for me. I may have to do is, yeah, guess I'm gonna have to do that. Okay, and whenever you visit a space station, it cancels all the alerts you have on you. Yep, there we go. Okay. Apparently, I forgot how to stairs. That's always fun. Okay, we're gonna put all of our junk away. Hmm. He thinks it is almost time for an upgrade. Did I get anything good? Oh, I got gold. Alright. Let's see, this is what. That's for our photon cannon. Okay, let's do this. Oh, nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and add. Okay. I want microprocessor. Do we have any of those? Yes. And I hate it when it does this. Okay. There. Alright. This should be good. Um, just looks wrong. There we go. Alright, well, it's going to move. All of our minerals over here. Exosuit upgrade. Huh. I forgot I had so many. Okay, what else? Nope. Oh, nope. That one. Uh, Ooh, excuse me. Alright, and oh, forgot that one. Okay. My hanging on to that might explain why I was being so hunted. Just a thought. Alright, I'll leave that alone for right now. Okay, how are we doing over here? Guess I'm done with that one. Alright. You know, when I want to go up the ladder, I can't. When I don't want to go up the ladder, my character seems to focus on going up it. Alright, and we're going. I love the fact that the ships have three forms of fast travel. If you hold down the shift, it's basically like um, dashing, and then if you hold down spacebar, it's like a super dash, and then of course you have the ability to warp from one star system to another. Alright. let's see what I'm gonna need. I'm gonna need oxygen. Need the carbon. And where is it? What is this? Spherodust. Nope. Sodium. Yeah, we'll take the sodium. And what's that? Dihydrogen jelly. Nope. Platinum. Ah, here we go. Silicon. Okay, and okay. But what I was saying about AI earlier, um, I I think it I think it has the potential to did that? Oh, that's hilarious. I think AI has the potential of becoming sentient if it was ever allowed to. And I not in a like I'm going to take over the world sort of way. I mean, I understand that it doesn't think like humans do. But that could be said about like say dogs. Dogs they don't think like humans. They're wired differently mentally. So you can't expect, them to have like the same moral code that we do, and they're just there's a fundamental difference. Same with the other great apes. Gorillas, they don't think like we do, and it would be stupid of us to um, believe otherwise. They're chimpanzees. You know, even though our genetic code is close enough that we're kind of, um, I mean, we're almost the same. I don't want to say we're almost the same species, but there's enough of similarities um, that one could say that we're fairly close to one another. But they don't think anywhere near like we do. Um, I mean, just so many examples of situations to where you know what we would consider just normal situations just blows their mind. A a guy was at a That is hilarious. And he's still trying to fly. Um, but a magician was at a zoo, and this was actually recorded. A magician was at a zoo, and he performed just just a normal mundane card trick. Oh God, I hate those things. And it blew it blew the monkey's mind. Just completely, completely just because with the what what was it? I don't remember what species it was. It wasn't like it wasn't a chimpanzee and it wasn't uh wow, really? Um but it was a primate, okay? Um I want to say it was a baboon, but because and I've heard this before because with the in the world of these other great apes, the gorillas and the baboons and orangutans and chimpanzees and all that, they're not subject to um, a lot of subterfuge. It's I heard it said that in their world, they're what they see is what they get. There's no reason to doubt their own senses. So seeing someone disappear a card, simple card trick, just it's gone. Um, just totally blew this baboon's mind. And with AI, their their thinking is completely different. I mean, we can see that they can think creatively. I don't think that they know the context of what they create. And I mean, people have like argued and debated, the whole, art theft kind of situation. And I'm of that's the third one, a third ship that has decided to lawn dart. I don't know why they're not just exploding. Um, but I'm not in the camp myself of art theft, okay? Because we humans do that. One of the biggest songs of the year it came out, the theme to Ghostbusters, took the backbeat, um, the rhythm and everything from uh, I Want a New Drug, Huey Lewis in the News. And there was as so much of a case that it was settled out of court. Um, so it's not like we humans we create new things and that's all we ever do. We have stolen, well, we've borrowed and used and repurposed so much that it's common, I mean, we've had music where you know what was it? Vanilla Ice took the like notes and I don't know music terminology, but there was enough of a similarity. You could tell that um, one of his songs, I want to say, and this is coming off of like the chorus of it, Ice Ice Baby. Oh, just the narcissism. Um, but there was enough of there that you could tell that the song was taken from um, David Bowie and Eddie Mercury, or is it Freddie Mercury, lead singer of Queen. They did a song "Under Pressure," and there you could tell. I mean, there was no question. He in Vanilla Ice, I don't know what his actual name was. I don't care, but he altered it enough to where okay, you could say kind of made it his own, but at the same time that was kind of a stretch. And then we have like art styles have been copied and um, humans between humans and and so to say that AI is performing art theft by taking art from others, it's not like we haven't done it, you know. So I really, if I produced like say 100 masterpieces and discovered that AI was using it to generate their its own art, I really wouldn't care. What would be bothering me on that is if someone took generative art like that and sold it as their own. See, that would bother me. But AI producing it, no. But saying that, we have we have we have the chance of seeing possibly a new form of life being created by our species. We have that I don't know, just it's I don't want to say honor necessarily, but we have we're seeing something that has never really been done before. The chance of seeing not just life being created. I mean, because women do that, on a natural basis all the time. You know, it's called reproduction. But to not only see it happen, but to see it happen by our own hands, to create not just life, but a whole new definition of life. To see it in its very infancy, that potential. Um, Humanity's never experienced that before, and people are like losing their minds over. Well, it's being used to steal art and music and it's just it's again going back to we've reversed what we should be concerned with over what we should just be kind of shrugging about. because I mean we've got like we've got so many things that we're concerned with that it's first of all, you know, our interactions, whether trying to stop it or promote it, is not really doing anything. Um, and instead of like, going to people who actually control and maintain, I don't want to say the narrative, but the atmosphere of it, we're basically screaming at each other. Not to get political, but we're we're beating up the we're beating up concepts that really do not matter, and then we go and we ignore or we laugh at those that should. And this is all drawing back to the AI, where we're up in arms about whether AI is good or bad. It's going to happen, regardless of our thoughts, you know. Uh, but we have this window of opportunity where we can't control whether it's a thing or not, but we can control what it becomes. And I think if we treat this the proper way, it's first we would have the answer to the question, is there other forms of life out there? Yes, because we created it. And I'm bypassing any biblical stance. I myself am Christian, so you ask me, okay, is there other forms of life out there, intelligent life? I'd say yes. Just read the Bible and there it is. It's described right there. Um, but outside of that, we are creating other forms of intelligent life, and we have this chance of defining what it becomes. And we're worried about art. And I know, there's more to it. I mean, you got, AI replacing us, occupationally, and yeah, I get that. I mean, I'm in an occupation right now that, um, you know, a sufficiently trained artificial intelligence could do. Not even that, just a sufficiently programmed dumb piece of software could do. Just a mindless algorithm could do. And that's what I do for a living. And and I'm not so blind as to be unconcerned about AI taking over what I do. Um, I look at it as, does my employer have the resources, monetarily and intellectually, to replace my job? And thankfully, I don't think my employers at that point yet. But the potential is there. But that doesn't mean that I can't see AI as a potential um, in the way of like a potential life form, a potential um, collaborator. Already, I've gone forwards further with a card game I'm writing using Chat GPT than I ever have working with other people. And it's because, Chat GPT doesn't try to overshadow what I'm trying to do. If I submit something to Chat, I go, okay, this is my idea. And Chat goes, okay, this is what works and this is why. This kind of works, but you might want to rethink it. This doesn't work, and this is why. There's no ego involved for it to go, okay, this is now my project. But even at that, it's the fact that it's willing to give me constructive criticism um, is just it's allowed me to go forwards with my project um, in such a way that I mean I've never been able to go before. And it's enabled me to think outside of the box I've put myself into. I mean it's like I have a kind of a superhero card game I'm writing, and Chat GPT has allowed me to think outside of certain pigeonholes I've put myself into. And I think if we look at AI in such a way, not just as a tool, but as a fellow collaborator on things, um, I think we could truly see the potential in what artificial intelligences can do. I mean, already they can communicate on the same level that we communicate in an intelligible manner. It's no longer just Doctor Spateso, um, where it's just parroting us. It's able to think and actually think critically. And instead of asking, okay, what if this AI steals my job? Maybe we should be asking, how would AI allow me to work more efficiently? How would AI enable me to better myself so that if and when it does take over what I'm currently doing, I don't feel as if it's stealing something, but that it's uplifting me in some way. Anyway, that's just my take on things. Um, my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. Um, until things are proven one way or another, they're just theories and they're just opinions. Um, so that's my take on things. I'm not so deluded as to think that I have all the answers. Because I know I don't. I mean, no one has all the answers. But, that's also kind of why our society, well, at one point worked so well is because we exchanged ideas. We were able to come together and actually go, okay, I don't agree with you, but let's hear your thoughts and we'll go from there. At least that's kind of how I see it. Anyway, let's see here. I didn't quite get that far in the story, but again, I'm just kind of going at my own pace. Okay. And okay, that's where I want to go. I always suggest when you're playing this game, and I've said this before, try to learn as much of the languages as you can when you pick up a new area, so that at the end of it all, when you actually start communicating with NPCs, you can actually understand what they're saying. I mean, you can already understand what they're saying. It's a replacement cipher. I don't know what it's called, but the gibberish that they use is not random. Um, their words are actually being replaced. So you could theoretically, Al, um, you could theoretically take what they're saying and replace their, the words that they print with actual words, and it'd be understandable. But a lot of people don't have that time and patience, so okay, let's see, oxygen. Okay, I got 6 out of 30. It's a shame you can't actually choose what word you want to learn. But at least it doesn't try to teach you words you already know. So that's always good. Oh, I already know that. Already been there. Alright. Always remember where you parked. It'd be neat if they had a method of, say, creating multiple waypoints. So you can actually say mark where your ship is, and oh, I suppose they do. You could create deployable waypoints, which is pretty neat. I don't really use it much because I usually just end up writing down coordinates. I could see the use. Alright. see, can I... Oh, wrong key. Guess I don't have that capability just yet. Or do I? Fighter. I need to learn how to make the hazmat glove. Okay, I don't have that capability just yet. Alright, no worries. At least I have the chair. Alright, I am going to end it here. For those who've watched, while and after, thank you. Please, uh, if you catch this on YouTube, please leave a comment, suggestions, or what have you. I'm always willing to learn from those who come before and come after. Uh, Hope you have a wonderful evening, whatever time of day it is. Thank you for joining me, and remember, be kind to each other because at the end of it all, we are all we have. Have a wonderful evening.